Hello, guys. Welcome to the Holiness Ministry. I am again Davina, your holy sister, friend, and daughter. And today on this show, I'll be giving you guys a story time. So, this story times included this boy that I was speaking to, and he was very manipulative, and he had his good ways of doing that. I've constantly already knew this boy. From now on, it's been like 8 months, even though we stopped speaking to each other. So I met this boy around November of 2024, before 2025, couple months before 2025 has started. And this boy would just say the initial, random initial J. And I've met him at the time I was 16, he was 18. So he was already getting to the adulthood and stuff like that. So when I met this boy, it was like going good in the beginning, but guys change. That's the reason they change throughout time. They can't stay the same for a long time. So when we first met, he was kind of good and stuff like that. He was nice, sweet, until he decided to change his behavior later on. And then that's when around December we was talking, we would text, and then he wanted to see me for the first time, but I had said no. I was like, I don't even know you like that for me to see you. So that's when he started that blocking stage of going ahead and blocking me for no reason at all, just because I refused. And this boy, he just made me like realize boys could be a waste of time, even if he's younger than me, even he's older than me, they're a waste of time. And then for me, in my perspective, I wasn't born here. He was born here. But throughout times where I was getting to know this boy with his manipulative behavior, around like the New Year's have came, he had refollowed me again. He'll constantly add me back on social media. But the reason these problems led to me is for being sneaking around my family and my parents, from sneaking to getting a new device when I knew I already had the other one taken. And this is advice I want to tell you younger girls: to not be sneaky, always be honest with your parents. It's not okay to go behind their back and get something that they don't have no clue you deciding to get. And that could lead you to bad decisions, what I have been doing, because I decided to get a new device. And that's why I'll say, if you have something took for you, it's took for a reason, and you need to earn back that privilege or anything that could ever been taken to you as a younger person. We are all young, we still young, we have time to earn things, to buy our own things, to see that our parents gonna see in our eyes, wow, she can do this herself. She's responsible to do this, not with a boy, not with a male, just in general as a female, because we need to learn to be independent. Back to the story, it was times where he will constantly block me just because I'll say no to certain things, and he was just very manipulative. I remember this one time around, like, let's say the beginning of January or before February started, he had asked me like he needed $60, but I'm 16. You're 18. You're born here. You're a citizen in the United States, and you have the confidence to ask a 16-year-old for $60. How do you expect me to have that on me? I'm 16 years old. Just because the 2 years difference don't mean anything, and that really made me like, why are you asking me for stuff? I'm younger than you. You should be responsible, independent in yourself. And then I asked him, why do you need that $60? He said he needed for a tattoo. Since he already has so many tattoos, like his arm, his chest, his other arm, like all just over. And then it was this one time I went to see him, and then I noticed a tattoo. Is this tattoo symbolized that a lot of people in like America or in general around the world, they get like an evil eye tattoo. They say that it protects them, but the truth is, it's an evil eye tattoo. It wouldn't protect you in any cases. I don't even know the meaning behind that, because I don't commend myself in that. I don't condone that kind of stuff. So I was like, that's really suspicious and weird. And then it was times where he'll constantly ask me for stuff. He'll beg me for stuff. Like, he couldn't get it himself. Like he'll beg me to get him food. Like he doesn't live with his parents, cause he still lives with his parents even now and before. I'm pretty sure, because there's no way the way you asking a younger girl for money. And that's an advice that if a guy asks you for something, it's okay to say no. You don't always have to say a yes person. You don't always gotta say be a yes woman or a younger girl or a teenager. It's okay to say no. And it was times where it would feel like I was being harassed, where he'll unblock me and he'll say things that will make me feel like I'm scared or something. And it was going good and stuff. Months passed, and then I haven't talked to him in about 3 months. Then May came out of nowhere. He had re-added me on social media, and because like how my social media, I decided to use my actual name, the birth name that I've been given. So people, it's really easy for people to find it. Plus, I'm not a young girl that likes to change her usernames just because out of that. I like to keep the same thing because that's what I want my platform to be named after. And yeah, so that's how easily he will find it. So I'll suggest, if you know a boy is a really manipulator or he's very suspicious early, you need to leave him alone. It's okay to block the person. Don't just let them constantly, because they're gonna think you're stupid or something. They're gonna take advantage of you and how you are as a woman or as a teenager growing up into your young woman stage. So that's, it's okay to not entertain that sometimes. And the best advice is to block them because it's not worth it. It's not gonna do nothing for you. If especially if he's asking you for money too. In general, just like as a boy that I experienced that was asking me for money, but it's not about the age. It's never about the age. It's about, does he care for you, and does he's willing to be the person to build a future with you? Is he willing to have that relationship, the same relationship he have with you? Is he willing to put effort in that with your mother and father? That's something you need to focus on, especially when you're texting boys, or if you add boys on social media, or if they add you first and you add them back. You need to be curious. Should I accept this or should I decline this? Or should I just ignore it or just not have a social media at all? Because us teenager, we tend to have social media so much, so it takes advantage of what we want in the future for ourselves. We see girls have these kind of dress, jeans, shirt. Now we all want that, and that's not okay for us. We need to be different from how others are. Not everyone are meant to be the same. So those 3 months had passed. In May, he randomly had added me back on a social media platform, because every social of mine have the same name. So I advise you, if you don't want people like that to constantly keep coming back to your life and they know they done you wrong, you need to stop contact with them and you need to block them. So in May, before my parents found out that I had got a new phone, and then it was leading me to trouble. Even with my past friends, I will go out with them and I will come back home until night time this one time. And that caused me that issue because I had that phone, which made me go out with my two best friends at the time, to go out and hang out with them at a mall and stuff like that. So having things that you aren't supposed to have, especially at a younger age, and you still in custody of your parents, is not a good thing. Because if you had, say, if you don't have um, a heart of parents, they could put you to jail. They can punish you in many worse ways. So it's better for you to not hide anything at all. Because these decisions that I made, from going out with my ex best friends and for going to see this boy and also continue contacting him, is because of that thing that I knew that I should have never had. So in May, things had he had re-added me, and then he texted me out of nowhere, and he was just like, hey. And then couple days later, he posted a girl. He posted a girl, and then like in the image, him and the girl, like my hair. You see my hair. Since he have hair, he have like long hair, but it's like braided. So her hair and his hair were together, but I was confused because I'm like, oh, you just texted me a couple days ago. Now you like posting with a girl, and it was really weird for me. And that day, it just made me feel like suspicious. And days passed, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be independent. I'm not even gonna care. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you texted me just for you to post this girl. I'm like, no, it's not worth it. Because advice, when we look at things like this in the future, when you do have somebody, a male that loves you, respect you, and have a bond with you and your family, you'll realize and be like, what was I doing back in those ages? Why was I doing that when I was 16, 15, 14, 13, or 17? And you laugh like, I remember this and that. These are all memories, and these are parts of our life that God is looking up, the man above is looking at, because he know our story. He knows everything before we ever do it. He know this decision that I've made before I even did it myself. So you guys need to be mindful as a younger people, because we are still young. We are not that mature yet to know many things. We are still very at a childish stage of life. We may make the worst decisions ever, and that's okay, because our brains don't fully grow until we are in our late 20s or our early 30s. That's when we're more mature and make better decisions in life. So I seen those things as he added that girl back, and I just minded my business. I was like, okay, it's not my fault that I'm just not forgettable. Because us, a lot of boys, when they know they have access to girls that they can continue to come back in their life, they're gonna think you're stupid or dumb. And that's what us young women don't want to be. For us to prevent that, we need to block those men. We need to set boundaries. You need to say, no, I don't want to date you because this and that. It's okay to say no. And if you feel some type of way about that person, they're going to realize that you, a person, a woman, a young woman that knows how to stand up for herself, stick up for herself. Boys like attract women that are smarter than them, because boys, they tend to think they're smarter than girls, but that's not true. Once they see how intelligent you are, because they always fall for the girls that's dumb, girls that haven't finished school. That's how us young teenagers in America are more likely to always get pregnant and become a teen mom, because the boy, he can image a girl from the outside of the way she behaves, her manners. They know, oh, this girl is dumb. They know this girl is smart. They know I can't approach this girl. I know I can't even date this girl because her father or the way her mother raised her is different from other women. That's how other males should think of us. That's how boys in this world should think of us. Not just a girl that just, you see a boy in the street, he asks you for your number, you just give it out. No, that's not the case. You say, no, I'm not interested, or no, I'm okay. That's just the answer. Not everything has to be a yes. Yes, I want to do this, or yes, I want to do that. And when he added me, of course I was hurt, because I felt like, okay, me and you, we've knew each other for a long time. I never really wanted to be in a relationship with you. You was already asking me for things early on. In 2 months that you just met a person, you asking them for food, you asking them for tattoos, you asking, they ask for money for dumb things. Not even things they need in general. Maybe if you ask me, can you give me money so I can go buy a Bible or something like that? Not even that, because they always worry about the wrong stuff. And then this one time when I had was texting him, he was like, "Do I smoke?" I was like, "No, I don't smoke. That's not the type of person I am." And he probably asked me that, so because in America, drugs, it can lead us women and men to change our personality and how we act. It can make us forget about things. And when we forget about those things, a boy could rape you, a boy could snatch you, or do anything he want. Because those drugs last days, it can last months, it can last years. And that's why so many people in this America that are homeless, they just live in the streets. You see people, you passing, you walking in the street, you see people smoking. Even women, it don't matter what it is, the bus, the train. None of those people, they always do that. And for that, once I had seen that, I didn't worry about that. But then At the end of the day, I thought to myself, this is not gonna last. Because look how he treated me. He went from asking me for money, he went from blocking me, constantly keep finding my social media just to bother me, just for so I don't forget him. But when he did those things, I was already forgetting who he even was. But he kept remembering me because that's the thing us a lot of young women could have a very high spiritual that a lot of people wouldn't forget about them. They'll say, even if you've never done nothing to somebody, they'll say, oh, this person was really genuine to me. Why couldn't I not be genuine to them? Why couldn't I not love them? Why couldn't I not treat them the right way? And that's how he probably seen me and his perspective. And he probably had many opinions. He probably hated me ever since he met me, but who knows? Only he knew, because I'm not him. I'm not his brain. I'm not inside of him. So when I seen that, I just let it be, and then that's when of course, I was right. They didn't last. He wanted to make me jealous because he already knew I wasn't ready to settle down. Cause at the time I was 16, I'm not gonna, put my education before you. I was still in 11th grade. I had a couple more, a year left to finish a high school to go to college or a university. So I wasn't doing that. And at that time, he was 18. He still decided to live with his parents. He kept asking me for money. He kept asking me for certain things, but you're 18. You're not me. You're not in my position as an immigrant younger girl who came here at the age of 5 or at a young age. You're not me. You have plenty of things to do and opportunity as being a U.S. citizen, but you tend to ask a younger girl for things and stuff like that. Beside him not knowing if I wasn't even immigrant, that was never his business at the end of the day. But the way he was, he could have had many potential. They always hear boys, they always finish high school. They think, oh, I'm good in life. I have a high school diploma. But that's not the case. And like here, if you want a huger career and a huger, bigger future for yourself, you need to not just finish college, but you also need to attend colleges, university. Those take time. People here, a lot of celebrities, they went back to college because they knew they needed a degree so they can be actors, so they can be singers. Because a lot of celebrities here, they only went to high school for a diploma. Then, oh, I can be an actress, I can sing, I have talent. But no, that's not the case. They need a other diploma, which is college or a university. And that's something he didn't even thought of himself. He just thought, I went to high school, I graduated, now I can sit in my parents' house. And that's not okay. That's embarrassing. Because you sitting here asking everyone for money. And because he was asking me for money is because other girls that he used to deal with was giving him money until it came to me, which I wasn't doing at all. Even if I was working at 16, I was never going to give him my money over something stupid like tattoos. You are marketing your body knowing you're going to burn in hell. God always told us to not mark our bodies in things that he doesn't want us to. And we see a lot of people here that's Christian, they think having a Bible verse as a tattoo is okay. They just get pointless tattoos. And then that's when time passed. I just started to see I won because you decided to have a girlfriend. Made me seem like I was jealous just for you guys to not even last a year or two. That's why I didn't care about it. And then times was like I removed him. I didn't block him. I didn't do that because I'm not a person that likes to block. It's either you're gonna block me. But if I had to ever go back in the situation I would have said to myself to be truthful with my parents and not having anything behind their back, especially when it comes to privilege like a device. It's better to wait for the right moments when they know now, oh, I can trust her. She's gonna tell me where she's at or this and that. Just as like me with my other ex best friends, my two ex best friends, those decisions of getting out the house and going to their house and then going to the mall, it was all because of that device. And that's why we need to be truthful in our parents. We need to trust them. If you need things, you ask. You don't just go and take it out of nowhere because at the end of the day, that continue to lack the relationship you ever want to build in the future. because in the future we all gonna be younger women in our 20s, late 20s, maybe moved out the house, already married or about to get married, a fiance or a boyfriend, and you want to leave your parents' house, but then you'll be like you wouldn't be able to because you already experienced this young love, and you couldn't wait until you were adult. So now we're stuck into, oh, I can't even call my mom, I can't even call my dad to come help me with this stuff that I have in my house. Or if you have an apartment, you're gonna be struggling because you decided to do many things that hurt them. Because things like this, us when we become parents as well as younger women or younger men, we our children might be just like us, just how genetics could work, and we will be like, oh, this how our parents was wanting us to better ourselves, and it could make us quit on our future kids because we know that our parents was trying to teach us to be better when it was our turn, but now you have to deal with that as being a mother and a father. And that's why we need to listen and always be truthful. So when we grow up and we become a mom or a dad, so we can teach our footsteps like our parents taught us to our kids. It could be similar footstep but different rules because all of us gonna have different rules of how we raise our children. But also, if your children come to grandma or grandpa's house, they'll have different rules. Maybe they'll want them to do dishes, and over there in your house with you and your husband, you probably wouldn't want them to do that because all of us are raised different. Not all of our parents are strict for no reason. Our parents are strict because they love us and they care for us, and we mean the word for them. And when we get in situation, especially younger girls like this, if things happen, if you go to see a boy and he kill you out of nowhere, nothing gonna lead your parents gonna feel empty, and they're gonna feel as they failed you as a teenager, as a girl, or as a boy. So we need to know how to say no. We need to set boundaries in our life to better ourselves. So time passed. I wasn't really communicating with him because April, that's when my mother, she had find out. It was this time that my dad, I think he was hearing noise in my room, so he was suggesting this can't be nothing like a laptop because I have a laptop in from school, and then he noticed like that can't be a laptop because I'm I'm eager to do certain stuff. When I hear like sounds like music, I used to tense to like to get up and dance. Like I don't know if that was a habit I used to have, but that was something I always used to do as growing up as a teenager. Even now, I've gotten better with that, but still, us teenagers have different habits when we hear things, and that's something I had. So in April, they had found out about the phone, so I had got it took because my mom, she the one who took it from me, and she was curious where I got it from, and that's why I kept making up lies until I decided to tell the truth. So this is why we need to always be truthful in the beginning, to not lie and to not sneak and get something that you know you're not supposed to have on you. And then it's okay to be patient because God wants us to be patient in life. Just as one day in the future we could be in a university or college, we have time where we can fail, but that doesn't mean that you're a failure because we all have to continue to keep going and study even when college become harder because high school could be easier and high school is different for every country, but college is get very serious. It's serious about the way you write. You can't just be like, hi, I'm this and that. You need to know how to write as a professional, and sometimes we will get times where we will fail or not even do good, and that's okay because we decided to be impatient when it comes to talking to males. But now that you come to your education or things you do for the future, now you want to be impatient, but you was patient enough to be patient for a boy. That's something we need to stop doing. And it's okay now because once we experience this stuff, when you become an adult, it will be harder for you. You'll be like, oh, I'm 25. Why am I not have a boyfriend? Why do I not even a fiance? Or why am I not even having my first kid? And that's all up to God. God know when we will ever have kids. It's so many celebrities that had kids in their 50s, 60s, And it's okay. We shouldn't have to rush things, just as we shouldn't have to rush to speak to a boy, to go see a boy. We need to be able to say no. We need to be able to not, you know, get into ourselves into that trouble of going to have that behavior that they can take advantage of us females. We need to protect ourselves because a lot of females, a lot of boys, they tend to think us women are their enemy because they think how our us women can be independent. That's they hate when us girls are like that. But that's what we definitely have to be. And in April when I had got that phone taken, everything was fine. I wasn't constantly using my social media as much, so I didn't really care. And I was getting back into my faithfulness with God, and I would go to church with my mother's her friend. She had children, and I used to watch them. During I met them around, I'll say maybe late early April, but I've like met them before I started watching them, but I just don't remember the month or the date. So I used to watch those little girls, and they was their mom. We'll go to church, and then we'll come back, and she'll drop me back here, and me and my dad, we was trying to get our worship to God together, not just as my dad being, a man of God and also a pastor, but he also always wanted everybody that he had in our family to be holiness, to have that faith in God, because without God, we tend to be nothing at all, because without God, we wouldn't be in this position. And I've been through a lot in life and stuff like that. And I'm blessed because I have two parents in my life. I have more than one parent, but I have so many parents that I call mom and dad, not just God, but everyone else that's in my family. I always call them mom and dad because that's a respect we need to have. Just because you don't have something, you don't be like, oh, I don't like my mom, I don't like my dad. They brought us here, and we are being raised through them for a reason. We need to obey and follow them just as God. If we want to have an eternal life, we must obey our parents. So we must follow after their rules. Just because they tell you, oh, go do this, go clean the whole house, and you say, oh, I can't do that, I'm still young. But one day you're gonna live alone. You're gonna be like, I have to get up, I gotta clean. That's the same attitude that you'll be willing to give your mother and father. And sometimes we like to talk back. We need to learn to listen to our parents because we think we're so smart than them. We think that we're teenager. Oh, now I'm about to be an adult. I know what I'm doing, but that's not true. And when I was getting back with faithful with my relationship with God, as my father was leading me through. I was doing so much good. I used to go to church. I would come down the time where we would pray, because we usually used to pray around 4 p.m. or like 6 p.m. and stuff like that. And I was getting so much better in that. And then that's when I met this one friend. She also was friend with my mom, a family friend, and we was getting closer. This one time, I'm the boy that I was dealing with and his manipulative. It was June, and then me and this girl, the family friend, we decided to go outside, and I decided not to tell my dad that, oh, dad, I'm gonna go out with mom's friend daughter, this or that. I never texted him, not just despite my dad being sleep or tired that day. I could have just sent a message or called or knock on his door, but I didn't. And then I left those kids that I was babysitting in the house alone, so that made my dad even more frustrated. So as I'm going out with this family friend, I was getting to know her and stuff like that. And then as me going out with her, she it just kept like we was walking to the place where she went to go buy her mom something, because her mom told her she needed to go buy something. So we was walking, and she was telling me a story about an old friend that she also used to have, and they was friends with her mom. And as she kept telling me that, she kept like tripping, but she wasn't falling. So I was like, oh, she keep doing this when she was mentioning that girl. So I was like, whatever, I don't really care. So we kept going, and then she was like it was hot and stuff like that. And then at that time, we got in the store, and then she was like very exhausted. So that day she had passed out and stuff like that. But also, when she had passed out, I was scared, and so I decided to get her phone, and I had decided to spill water on her because at the end of the day, I don't know this girl. I just met her, and her mom and my mother are friends, are very close friends. So if something was to happen to her, it wouldn't just lead. It would lead in my hand as well because I was with her. And I didn't know she had this disability of falling when it's very sunny until that day. So when she had fell, I decided to call her mom, and I was telling her mom, yes, it's the it's the daughter of my mom, and then your daughter had passed out in the store because I cared. And that's what we also have to do. We have to have a good heart. When it comes to having a good heart, we don't just put boys first. We don't just put anyone first. God wants us to all have a good heart, and God us want us to help. Even from the homelessness, even if we don't have nothing to them, we would just say, sorry, I don't have that for you, maybe next time. And when that girl had passed out, I had called her mom, and then that's where her mom was scared too, so she called my mom, and then the message kept getting passed until it got to my dad. And then that same day it had happened, she was okay. And I was scared because I never hanged out with somebody or a friend that ever fainted or passed out when it's sunny. So it was something new to me. So that same day, my dad, he was telling the children at home to text me and so I can come home because he didn't know where I was. So that's something us younger girls need to do. If we're gonna go out somewhere, our parents need to know because they need to know who, when you're gonna be back. How long is it gonna be? What place are you specifically going? Because they need to know, or is we safe or if we're not safe. And when we leave places, that's gonna cause them to think, and it's gonna cause us to lack the trust they have in us. Because us teenager, we're so hard-headed where we do things constantly, but our parents constantly forgive us. But when we do it constantly, they'll continue to see us as bad teenagers. So we need to change that perspective of mind. And he had got frustrated, not just because I left without telling him, but because I left younger kids in this house without telling him. And I knew it was my responsibility if anything happened to those little girls. And that's when I had came home and I had said sorry to him, and the girl had came back home with me too. That girl, the family friend daughter, she knew about the boy. Like she would tell me, like, he's very manipulative. He have a good way that, like, he have a really good way in manipulative. So I was telling him about him. I even told those little girls about him. They was like, yeah, they thought he was a bad person. A person is bad when younger kids agree with you. Kids are very honest. They're very honest with what they say. Even though they're children and they will just say anything, you probably wouldn't just trust in what they're saying. But they also can be very honest if they know a lot of spiritual of somebody. Just not just because they haven't seen them in person or nothing, but just the way that that person speaks to you through text or anything, they're gonna see them as a bad person. And that's when I had came home and I was telling my dad that I apologized to my dad for leaving the house, especially leaving those younger girls here. It was around early June or late June of 2025. And then that's when that same night, like in the middle of June, the boy had re-added me. And then I didn't really mind because I wouldn't constantly, the summer I didn't spend time constantly being having the privilege to have time to be on things like screen time because I had limited that because I had babysitting to do. I had other things to do, especially with faithfulness of getting closer with God and getting back my relationship with God. So I was lacking that like screen time and stuff. So when I had reactivated my stuff, I had reactivated to like get to add the family friend daughter on my bio on Instagram because we had like a matching username and stuff like that. And I always keep my stuff private. And then that same night, my dad was giving me advice. You see, like that would have, if you never went with her, that would have like happened, and like it would have been the worst scenario. But also, the best way you could have said was to be honest and tell. That's what us girls or younger people lack. Like we're too scared to tell our parents things we're gonna do because we think they're gonna say no so fast. So we need to get better and telling our parents, oh, I want to go here. I'm thinking about going here or this, and it's their decision. If they say no, you need to listen to them and accept what they said because they know the reason why they don't want you to go somewhere like a party. They will know the reason why they don't want you at a party. If you're in a party, you can get set up. They can kill you. People poison people. There's many ways us teenagers can die, not just by getting killed. It can be ways where people poison you in food, drinks, or anything in general. They could give you medicines that's gonna cause you to have a seizure, and we need to be careful. We need to demonstrate our surroundings. We need to observe our surroundings, not when it just comes out to boys, us girls, but when it comes to friends as well. We need to know who we setting boundaries, who we being friends with. You need to say, is this person a true friend to me? Can I go out with them? Do my parents know them? For you to have someone close is not, it's okay to only have one or two friends as long as your parents know those people. But for me, I always tell my dad everything. My dad is like the key for me to communicate. When my dad, I tell him something, he goes back and tell my mom. And then when my moms know, that's when my dad come back to me because both of my parents, when they communicate on something that I did or like something I generally asked for, he's gonna go, okay, I'm gonna ask your mom. And when they talk it out, they make the decision for me. Okay, you can do this or you can do that. That's the way it should be, and we should always be honest. Even from now on, if you haven't been honest with your parents, now is the time to start as people that are younger. We need to start saying, okay, I'm gonna go this place. Can you take me this way? Can I get this? Instead of stealing sometimes, we need to ask for things, earn things. And that day, my dad was giving me advice about what had happened with my family friend, daughter, and then that's when he was telling me if even if you ain't go, you could have imagined how it would have been. So God told you to go for a reason, but it's just the way I never told my dad that I was leaving the house because he was the only parent in the house and my mom was at work. So it was better for me to had told my dad that I was going out, and it was better for me to even bring those kids. But even if I brought the kids, they was gonna see that, they was gonna be traumatized. So I had that day, it was a good and a bad decision and at one point, but I also took accountability and apologized for the wrongdoing that I did. And that same day, that's when that boy, he had re-added me around late June, like couple days after that situation had happened with my friend. Like he had me blocked at first because I didn't accept his request because I was like, who is this? His the username was so suspicious. I didn't even thought it was gonna be him because the page was private and my page always private. And then I was like, okay, so who's this? So I was very curious, and then that's when I just accepted and let it in my page. And then the first thing he texted me was like, why you keep disappearing on me? That stood up to me because it's like I never disappeared on him. He always was to manipulate me. He'll always try to like guard me into doing things like control me, like sending him money, which I never done. Always constantly try to argue and be toxic. But I just let it be, and then it was confusing. I was like, I never um ghosted you or ever disappeared on you. You the one who constantly kept doing it. You had got a girlfriend in May and stuff like that. Now you coming back. He used that strategy and word because he thought, oh, I can be done with her. She wouldn't realize. But that wasn't the truth. I memorized everything because this person was like a trauma to me. It was like I was being traumatized, but I couldn't get out of this cycle because I decided to be sneaky. So that's why us girls, we need to stop being sneaky and we need to be truthful in ourselves. just as not just as our parents family, our parents friends. We need to be honest with them, because sometimes that's how people gonna start liking you. They're gonna be like, oh, she's very honest, she's caring, she's always telling the truth. That's how we need to be. And then he was just saying he was sorry, but I was confused because what is there to be sorry for? You already done this for several months. And then that's when a night came around July, a random night, and then he had texted me on Instagram. And then I had responded. That night I was on the phone with the family friend, because ever since the accident had happened to her, we became closer. That's what having a good heart for us teenager is. When someone see you, people our age see us that we're good, they're gonna want us to be around them. They're gonna be like, oh, she's a good person, she saved me that day, she didn't, she I wasn't just a friend that walked over my mother's daughter friend and left her there. Because I know my mom didn't raise me like that. My mom didn't raise me to go and leave her family daughter on the floor to be dead hours later. But I'm a very heart caring person, because my mom, she is a heart caring person. So as my father, we love to help, and we love to do things that Jesus will be proud of and God will be proud of. So I was very proud that I did that, and I called her mom immediately, despite not telling my dad where I was even gonna leave the house that day. But I was very proud that I've done that. And then I was on the phone that night when it happened. This happened like July 17th or 18th. I was on the phone with her, because we will always call, because she has a job, but I don't have a job yet. At that time, she'll get off work. She'll just constantly call me. And then we became very closer and stuff like that. And then I was already telling her half stuff about the boy. And then that's when that me and the boy was texting the night of July 18th. But that same July 18th, every single day during summer, starting from April, May, June, me and my dad will pray, and we'll also pray with younger family member children as well. So I noticed, like, I didn't pray that night. So that night when my friend, I don't know if her phone died or she slept, and then the phone got hot and it hanged up, because that's how sometimes it gets. And when I was calling her, she hanged up, and then out of nowhere, I don't know why I was up that night, because I usually tend to sleep earlier during summer, because I had children to watch. I had to watch people children. I had to cook meal, play with them, go outdoors, watch over them. I couldn't spend time being on my device. And then that's that night I wasn't just sleeping. So he was like, um Paulo, like, before I went, like, he came and we met halfway from my block, and I didn't give him my address. This is something us girls need to do. We need to be conscious of things we're doing. If you've seen a stranger or anything, don't be giving out things to them or anything. So that night we just met halfway through my block from where I had lived, instead of my house, because I knew, like, it wasn't me that night. Like, I don't know who it was, but that's when I realized that was the spiritual, that was the evil spirit. Because when we lack, we will say, us younger people, that we're God fearing, but we also sin. We sin most than our parents and adults, because we're still very young and our brain haven't, like, functioned all the way. We're still very childish. So we think that us lacking, focusing on a relationship with God, and one day, the next day we lack that, a spirit of evil will come back to us. Because spirits, we can't see them, it will come out of nowhere. Who knew if he was the evil spirit that got into me? Because I responded back to him. I decided to not ignore it, but responded. Spiritual things could be through texts. It don't have to be in general, in person, because we don't know how spiritual and, like, the evil spirit work, because we don't see spirit, just as we don't see angels or the spiritual of God guiding us anywhere that we are. But we know we're gonna feel it, and we're gonna feel that we're saved. And I was like, I was fighting the battle between knowing if it was me that night or if it wasn't, because I'm like, okay, Divina, You never left the house to go see a boy. It could have been I left the house to go see my ex best friends that I did once before. But for a boy, I never did that. Even in my past years of growing up, I never like left the night, especially at no 2 a.m. So when I had left that house the day, it was very weird of me. And then the last message he sent me, it was like, I feel like you will go to sleep, Paulo, because I know how you are. So that's how you know when somebody's manipulating you. They put every pattern of your behavior. They know she liked doing this. She would say no to this. But that night, I didn't know who I was because I lacked the faithfulness with God. And when we do that, God depart from us. He distance ourselves from us because He see, oh, you one day you think you're gonna be faithful to me, the next day you think you're gonna not be faithful to me. How is that gonna work? That's how God view us teenagers. So it's better for us that we continue. We have to force ourselves because we wouldn't want to die and our soul go to hell and then we're gonna feel that, you know. So we need to maintain a relationship with God. We also need to learn how to block. We also need to know how to say no. The biggest lesson is we need to learn a lot of things growing up. So that day I had left the house with him, but the day I was feeling also uncomfortable. It was like it was me, half wasn't me. So I don't know if he could have been the evil spirit that had gotten to me, because the way he was already is when I began meeting him, cussing me out, getting wanting to get money from me just for things that's not necessary at all. You know, he could have been the evil spirit. And his even his parents, his mother, the following day when my parents had found out and I decided to tell the truth from where I was because I couldn't lie no more because my mom caught me. My mom noticed that right when I was in the door, and then my dad, he almost hit me, but my dad, as him raising me, he never hits me. He never hit me for anything I've ever done. So I knew that was a major ever mistake that I've ever done to go see a boy. So we need to learn to say no. And us teenagers, we need to put God first. Instead of us worrying about social media so much, scrolling on social media, we spend time and hours on that. That's something we need to do, spending time to spend the time to build a relationship with God. If you can be on TikTok for 5 hours, you can spend 5 hours to learn the word of God or read the scripture. And that's something we need to do. And for us to still be live a long eternal life, we need to obey our parents as well as obey God and His words instead of breaking it. And that was one of the major mistakes I have done because I decided to not be faithful with my relationship with God that led me to do that thing that I've done that night at 2 a.m. because that would have been dangerous. Who could have knew if he had other spiritual thoughts in him? He could have killed me, and by now today I would have been alive. It would have been your holy sister Divina. She died 2 months ago, a month ago, but God kept me safe despite me leading to saying yes to do that. God still kept me safe, and the next day I felt so guilty because I got back to my normal self because I'm like, what did I done? What have I done? This boy never did nothing to me, nothing good for me. He never bought me something, but he always asked me for something. You know, us girls, we need to let the men come to us. We are the strong, we are the standard, the high standards men deserve. We shouldn't be looking for the guys. Even if he adds you, it's okay if he adds you on a social media, but you need to think to yourself. Sometimes it's better to delete those social media. How about you just don't use it at all? You need to spend time to not be on it so you can forget one time. Oh, what's the username that I was using for this? That's how we need to tend our lifestyle and also the relationship of God. Because without God, we don't know what we're gonna be in the next 5 years. We don't know if we're still gonna be here, because He can take us out of nowhere like quick. So we need to know what we're doing. And then the next day, since my parents care about me, my parents aren't careless parents. My parents are parents that care for me, and they always care for me. They always wish me the best, and they always till now, when despite what I did in July, I knew I felt guilty. I was trying the best I could to be forgiven, but I knew this was the major mistake I could ever have done, especially going to see a boy younger than me. By now, this male could have been in jail because my parents never played about me. Because someone who loves you, they care for you so much that they're not gonna let this just be, oh, you choose to do that, I don't care. But they didn't choose to do that. They decided to go to that boy's house, and they decided, since I wanted decided to do that, I can go live with him. As we were going and we decided to see his mom, his mother said he wasn't there, but who knew he probably was there? He just was scared because he knew my parents was there, and his little sister had opened his door. And then my dad was talking to his mom and stuff like that. And then that's when his mom, something that stood out to me, I don't really fully remember this because we already moved past this, but his mom was like, he's 19, he can't even take care of himself. So that leads to my brain. Divina, what were you doing? What were you thinking? Why did you constantly decide to keep contact with this boy, knowing it from the beginning? His mother said it herself. The woman that gave birth to him, the woman that struggled 9 months to take care of him, saying something like this, that just made me feel like I could have been smarter in my decision, and I decided to break my parents' trust over that. And then that's something us women need to be cautious of. Not everything has to be about a boy. Boys usually only want us for one thing, unless he really love you. And right now, we need to focus on what we want for the future, especially us younger girls, 14 to 17 or 18 or 19. We need to learn to be patient. Let's focus more on our education. Let's focus more on our lifestyle. It's okay in the future. We have to be independent before we meet the right God that God wants us to. Because God says to us, when it's the right time, I will make it happen. That's something we need to let God figure out. Instead of now focusing on when will I get married? When will I have a first kid? God knows that. It's okay if you have a kid at 40, 50, 30. We still gonna be young no matter what age we are. As we're on this earth, we're still considered young. At the end of the day, don't rush our lifestyle. A lot of women here, they have toxic baby dads, they have toxic baby moms because they have kids before they had got married. So we need to be able to know what we're doing. We need to be able to say no. And ever since that day, it was a struggle for me to focus back into the observation for my household and for my parents. So that's the advice I'll give you guys, and I hope you guys take my advice. And I'll see you guys until next time. I hope God guide us in the name of Jesus. Thank you guys.